Dr. Sise is our guest. He should. Hi, Uncle Peter. Please ask the Honorable Minister of Information, Dr. Ismail Sise, what is the rationale behind the government issuing national identification cards abroad when they are struggling to provide effective and efficient national identification cards locally? I was so surprised and disappointed when I went to Canifing to renew my national identification card. After paying $450, I was asked to come and collect it after 2 months. My ID card had not even expired. I lost it 2 weeks ago in Serekunda, and now I have the number and picture of it. Just a renewal, it takes 2 months plus.
Well, like I said,
the rationale behind
is demand.
Giving
Demand.
in Mauritania, in Gabon, in Congo, in Togo.
The demand there was so huge that from the Gambians living in that country, they needed it to be able to stay and regularize their stay in that country, and they demanded it. And as a government, we care about every Gambian, no matter where you live, whether you live in Gambia or you live in Gabon or China. As long as that demand is huge. For example, in Mauritania, there was a period when they were being assaulted by the security officers there, and the president sent a high-level delegation there to see what can be done to protect the rights of Gambians. And one of the things that came up was that some of them cannot identify themselves as Gambians, and because Mauritania is not part of ECOWAS, they need to know, so to give them special treatment in terms of protecting that, they need to be ID'd. And they requested for this, and the government really responded by making sure that they facilitate for them to be given ID cards. So that doesn't take away the fact that, yes, we are still giving ID cards in Gambia. There are backlogs. There was an issue with the ID card processing. Now we've gone 24 hours in terms of processing so that we can be able to deal with those backlogs. There are challenges, clearly, but we are working towards ensuring that every Gambian who needs an ID gets it. But when it comes to the abroad one, these are Gambians who live there, who need it urgently. And this was a promise given to them that they'll be able to help them to get ID cards so they can be able to regularize their standard ID themselves. And government is providing a service to them. That's it. So it's based on demand.
Good morning, Uncle Peter. Can you please ask the Honorable Minister, Dr. Sise, why it is taking the government so long to implement the TRRC recommendations? We, the victims, are still waiting for justice, and our hopes are fading because of the way the government is handling the situation. We see countries like the USA and Germany prosecuting the junglers, while here in the Gambia, the Justice Minister openly says that torture is not a crime in this country, despite the fact that so many Gambians were tortured. We also hear politicians like Rambo Jatta on Kirfatu saying the TRRC report is going down the toilet and that Barrow will not implement it because it would be political suicide for him. Sadly, that statement seems 100% accurate. Barrow appears to care more about winning elections than prosecuting the perpetrators.
Well, I think first off, the statement that the Justice Minister said, torture cannot be, how do you say, there are certain crimes.
Torture is not a crime in this country.
It's a crime. No, the issue is that some of our laws don't have some of these crimes. That is why there was a universal jurisdiction. Some crimes, like crimes against humanity, they're not captured in our laws. For you to be able to try them in the country, it has to be captured in our law. So because some of these crimes are unprecedented, we never thought they would be happening in this country.
Yeah, but you had the TRRC report for how many years now?
No, it's different from the TRRC report. I'm talking about certain crimes. For example, crimes against humanity.
Yeah, the TRRC documented the torture that people went through.
That's what I'm saying. But certain crimes that are committed during Jame cannot be tried because we don't have the laws. Our courts cannot try them. Because what law, you try a case because there's a law you use to try a particular case, to get conviction. If the law doesn't exist in your country, you cannot try it. That is why some of these guys are tried outside of the Gambia. Now, when it comes to the TRRC, there are about 260 recommendations. And TRRC recommendations are not a destination in terms of implementing them. It's not like we have to get an end to it. It takes time. We have completed about 60 recommendations. 100 and something are ongoing, and a few have not started it. But this is a process. It takes a lot of resources, a lot of capacity, a lot of time to implement all 260 recommendations. Even countries that started before us, the Rwanda, the South Africa, the Liberia, they are still, even the Sierra Leones, they are still working on implementing their TRRC recommendations. So we cannot expect this to happen in 2-3 years to implement all the recommendations. What is important, we've started. Key amongst which is the establishment of the Reparations Commission, which has been established. The commission has been sworn in. They are going to work. So this is a process that we need to do, and this takes time. So when it comes to the laws, certain laws, we don't have them in our law books, certain crimes, it needs to be tried outside.
Okay. Good morning, Peter, and good morning to the Honorable Minister. I can't understand the rationale behind PURA trying to regulate the coming down of data cost, purely instigated by the mobile operators themselves. I know these operators know what they are doing, and they will not run their businesses into losses. PURA says they are protecting customers against network congestion. However, this is the wrong approach. I think they should be monitoring the operators' networks and reprimand them for congestion caused by these surges. I will forward them to buy more data capacity from ACE, or they will stop what they are doing or adjust the rates themselves. This is a better approach than dictating their commercial business, especially when it benefits the public. That's the irony. That's the irony, really.
Yeah, but no, I don't think so, Peter. Like I said.
Well, the people.
Yeah, but PURA has to regulate, and when you regulate, you create equilibrium in the system, and there are many stakeholders in this sector. The government itself is a stakeholder because MNOs pay tax to government. The consumers are stakeholders. The MNOs themselves are stakeholders because we need to create a fair competition environment for them. Now, PURA knows what they are doing. PURA will not just do things that will disadvantage the consumers, just like that.
Apparently, that's what this customer thinks.
No, that's what the customers will think. But like I said, PURA needs to do a balancing act. And I think
he's proposing, rather than asking them to, bring up their prices again, force them where you observe congestion to increase their bandwidth.
No, like I said, all these are technical issues.
Well, this makes sense, doesn't it?
No, on the face of it, it might. But perhaps if you dig deeper, there are reasons that there could be issues with that as well. That wouldn't make sense. So like I said, PURA will really respond to this appropriately. They know the reasons why, what they are. But I believe in what PURA is doing, and I think they're having the right approach, because PURA will not deliberately try to disadvantage consumers. They wouldn't do that. Like I said, PURA has to create equilibrium in the system because they're a regulator, and they have to take into account the interests of all these three key stakeholders: the MNOs themselves, the government as a revenue collector, but also the consumers as the users of the end product.
Good morning, Uncle Peter. There was a time Dr. Cisse said on your program that the Immigration Department was printing ID cards. This was the same week my wife was interviewed, and it's been over 2 months now, and she's still not able to get her ID. Last week, the DG of Immigration said the same thing on QTV, that ID cards are being printed. Why are they misleading the public? This is frustrating.
No, I don't think we're misleading. They're printing ID cards. Like, there are backlogs. Now, if you go and apply for an ID card today, Peter, and someone has applied 2 months ago, like he applied for 2 months now, and they're printing those ones because there was a period when there was a stop. And we received a lot of applications for ID cards, but we're not printing at that time. So when we started printing, we need to clear those backlogs first. If the backlog is, let's say, 50,000, it has to be cleared first. That is why now the immigration are going 24 hours now. I think they've started or they're about to start. The minister told me last week that they'll start this last week to just clear the backlog. So you applying, it takes 2 months. It doesn't mean they're not printing. They're printing, but they're clearing the backlogs that exist. That is the fact. Nobody will try to mislead anybody here. If they're not printing, we will say they're not printing, and we'll give the reasons why they're not printing. But they are printing, but clearing the backlog. So if you apply and it takes 2 months, it means that your turn has not reached yet for them to print for you. But they'll print. They're printing.
Good morning, Uncle Peter. Talking about taxi drivers unilaterally raising fares. Now the fare from Westfield to Banjul is $50, up from $25.
No, that is not acceptable. I hope
Let me look for Ibrahim Silas. Because I brought this issue up with Ibrahim. Good evening, Peter. Thank you for forwarding that message. Actually, we have just finalized a draft bill to deal with some of the unlawful charges that transporters are levying on passengers. Hopefully, before end of October, the bill will be before the National Assembly. This was, after somebody
it's a new bill that is coming
sent an audio, and I said to him, please listen to the audio shared above. It's for the GTU, but I want to think it also concerns your ministry. See if there's anything you can do about the problem.
Yes, I think it's a problem. It's not acceptable, like I said. Drivers must not try to exploit passengers. There are fees.
Well, they are doing.
Yeah, but passengers should not also accept to be exploited.
They need to get to work.
Yes, but I think if nobody goes with them, they wouldn't go. So we cannot also allow us to be exploited.
So if your a personal assistant, for instance, who is not given an official car, refuses to pay the 25 and they don't come to work for 1 week, you still keep them in their position?
That's an exaggerated scenario. What I can tell you is
for how many days can they be?
What I can tell you is that if all passengers refuse to board cars that overcharge, there'll be cars that will now charge the right price. So I think it's a collective responsibility. But I think the Ministry of Transport will really have to work on this, working with the transport union, because drivers cannot really be seen, and we cannot accept them to be overcharging passengers.
Very interesting question coming. Good morning, Uncle Peter. I heard Dr. Cisse saying that some petrol stations give discount on fuel prices. That's why you get different prices. But how about the bakery owners or the bakery owner who decided to sell his bread at discounted price and the police arrested him? This is from Bubakar Sano of Fajikunda. I think this case happened in Brikama.
I remember that.
Yes.
But to be honest, I don't know the details of that story. But my understanding, I'm not speaking now from a policy point of view, Peter. My understanding that if I want to sell my product a bit cheaper to attract more customers, it depends on the product as well. I'm not sure. To be honest, Peter, let me be honest. I cannot answer this question because I don't know the details of the bread industry that much to be able to know why there was an arrest there and here there's not an arrest. What I can tell you is that when it comes to the fuel prices, some OMCs now do a slight reduction of the prices to make it affordable for consumers, no matter how little that is. Okay. That I can confirm. Now, when it comes to the bread issue, I'm not sure what is so special about bread that anybody who sells below $12 is arrested. I'm not even sure whether he was arrested for that particular purpose.
He was, the police confirmed that he was arrested.
Because he brought the price of bread down to...
Well, what the police said was he worked beyond the stipulated hours.
But that's different from bringing the price of bread down. Because if there is an agreement in the sector that these are the times that you need to bake bread and you are part of the sector and you breach it, there should be consequences. Now, that's different from bringing the price of bread down. What bringing the price means that people are selling it for...
Probably because he's able to produce, extra bread during that period that the others are not, and that's why he's able to sell
Not necessarily. Well, there are two things here.
Oh, no.
No.
How much bread he produces in a day and sells will determine at what price he sells.
It can, but also cannot determine it. He can produce more and yet sell at the same price.
That is correct.
That's what I'm saying. So that is a presumption. What I'm trying to tell you is that there are two things here clearly. One is selling beyond the standard acceptable price. Two is going beyond the time which is allocated. Now, which of the two things he's been arrested for? Is it because he sold bread at less than $12 specifically, or was it because he baked during times which are not accepted? So, which of this was he arrested for?
The latter, according to the police.
Exactly. So then it has nothing to do with the price of bread then.
Madi Jobate, the argument that no country gives free tractors and therefore the Gambia cannot give free tractors is baseless and misleading. There are many things many governments are doing that the Gambia does not do and vice versa. For example, many countries provide free secondary and university education, such as Egypt and Mauritius, which the Gambia does not give. Secondly, while ministers do not own their official vehicles, the vehicles are exclusive to them for their entire tenure. They don't have only one, but also have a second vehicle for family use. The same argument could be made for families to have the tractors free, for other farmers to have the tractors free for agricultural purpose. After all, no one drives a tractor to a naming ceremony or for leisure as you would do with the kind of vehicle the ministers have. Tractors are for work and not for luxury.
Well, I think Madi sometimes contradicts himself. I think the less he speaks, the more he does himself a favor. We have 22 ministers. How many farmers do you have in the Gambia? How many farmers do you have in the Gambia? Can you provide a tractor for each farmer? Hundreds of thousands of farmers? It's not possible, Peter. That is impossible. So I don't think sometimes I don't know what's wrong with him. Secondly, what the government has done, most governments don't do it, and most governments are not doing it. That is, providing tractors for farmers at discounted prices, at subvented costs, supporting farmers. But the idea of giving farmers, each farmer a tractor, hundreds of thousands of farmers, nobody can do it and no government can. That is the fact. And Madi knows it's impossible. It's unrealistic. Now, you cannot compare that to 22 ministers having been given the office. It's not even for the minister. It's for the office to use, and it's for your official vehicle to use as a minister, as a state minister for 22. How can you compare that to giving hundreds of thousands of farmers each a tractor, which is not possible? Now it comes to education. Basic education in this country is free in the public schools.
Let's talk about secondary and university education.
But Peter, the government is giving over 3,000 scholarships to young Gambians studying at the university and other vocational institutes. The rate at
Those are the lucky
fees,
ones. We have more than 3,000.
No. If we have 7,000 students at UTG and close to 3,000, almost 40 to 50% on scholarship. That's a good start. Which
it does not make tertiary education free.
No, it doesn't. But what I'm saying is that tertiary education, not all countries do it for free. Now, the countries is mentioned like this in the UK, it's not free. It's very expensive in the UK. In the US, it's not free. It's very expensive in the US, even for the citizens of those countries. Even the UK, home students pay a lot of money to get a degree in that country. Now, government has started what we call a revolving loan scheme, thanks to the foresight of the Minister of Higher Education, making sure that students don't only get scholarship, but also they get loans during the entirety of their studies, so that when they are studying, they're not thinking about university fees. So you cannot compare to say that because other countries, Scandinavia is doing it. Scandinavia does it because they have they have a welfare state system where people pay a lot of tax. How many Gambians are paying tax in this country? Most of Gambians are in the informal sector.
I am paying tax.
But what I'm our tax base is not wide. In Scandinavia, public sector officials pay 40 to 45% tax of their salaries. Now you do that same thing here, people will cry. Now our informal sector is huge here.
Pay us as much as they're earning in Scandinavia, and you can take 50% if you want.
No, but what I'm telling you is that we've not reached that stage yet where we can give free higher education, tertiary education to every Gambian. Right. That's not possible at the university at this moment because it's a lot of money that it costs. What we can do now, we are doing it. That is providing a revolving loan scheme for the students who are studying, so they don't have to think about fees during the entirety of their study, but also giving scholarships to deserving students. That is what we can do for now. That is what we are doing now. Comparing us to Scandinavia, which has a very different budget, a very different tax system, a very different governance system, I think it's disingenuous. Okay.
Good morning, Uncle Peter, and your guest. Can you ask the minister, how did the government reach the decision for farmers to pay 75% cost of the tractors? How many farmers in the Gambia can afford that? Are they giving tractors to the villages or district CAFOs because ordinary farmers can't afford the cost individually? How can government pay 50% car cost for MPs but not for poor farmers whose income is seasonal? How sad. Can you also ask him if Jammeh gave tractors free or not?
Well, I don't know about Jammeh, how he gave the tractors. I have no
75% of the cost.
What I can tell you is that
to farmers.
But the 75% of the cost is not paid cash. It's over 5 years, I think, something like
it's
that.
It's still 75% of the cost.
But still, in fact, the demand is way above the supply of 180 tractors.
How did you arrive at the decision is the question.
I cannot know that. That is for the Minister of Agriculture to answer that question. What I can tell you is that the scheme is welcomed by many farmers. And in fact, many farmers are able to afford this. I mean, people sometimes underestimate the support the government is giving to farmers, which has led to farmers having an extra income in terms of these fertilizer subsidies, in terms of the date at which we are buying their ground. Farmers are making money in this country because the government has given them the support that is necessary to be able to make money. And farmers are doing it. But the tractors, remember, Peter, farmers make money from these tractors also outside of even farming. Because remember, farmers use it to till the land of other people, and they are paid for that. It's a lot of money to have a tractor in this country. Oh, okay. So for example, today, I've known farmers who in one day, they can make $40,000 from their tractors.
40,000?
Yeah.
More than I make in a month.
$40,000 is just because, you know what they do? For other people who doesn't have tractors, their land, before the rainy season, if they pay them per hectare. They pay them a lot of money. So these tractors are investments even for farmers. Farmers it's not like they're using it only to farm their own land. No. It's an investment for them as well. They are going to recover their money within a very short period of time. That is why most farmers are happy with the project, happy with the initiative, and they are part of the initiative. Now, if someone sits in his corner who's not a farmer, who has no idea about farming, making assumptions, that is his or her problem. What I can tell is that if you talk to most farmers, they're happy with this initiative and they appreciate it.
Hi, Uncle Peter. Can you tell the minister that they are happy when their salaries are increased, but are not happy when ordinary citizens are provided with cheaper data prices? And they justify their action by saying it's in the national interest. What is the essence of market competition?
Well, nobody talked about national interest here. What I talked about is equilibrium in the sector, and also PURA as a regulator to effectively regulate this sector, they need to make certain decisions. Now, those decisions are for PURA to come and explain. Now, what the government has done, no government has done it since independence, raising salaries 3 times within a very short period of time to almost 110% cumulatively. That is commendable. So I didn't see really, in fact, the correlation between raising of salaries and the data price war is out of place.
Okay, somebody pointing out to you that Senegal has brought down the cost of bread twice within the short period of the current regime's reign. So stop comparing Gambia with Senegal. And he's saying, Uncle Peter, this is not an insinuation, it's a fact. I used to live in that vicinity.
Still, bread is cheaper in Gambia than Senegal.
They brought the price down
but
twice.
still cheaper in Gambia.
Ours is going in a different direction.
What I'm saying is that even though, let's assume for the sake of assumption that they brought their bread prices down twice, still bread is cheaper in the Gambia than in Senegal. That is the fact.
All right, I'll just take maybe one more because we have to show some respect, for our next guest. Please ask Doctor why the Jaliba Junction under construction is progressing so slowly. It's been 2 years now, and the workers sometimes show up only once a week. They've also blocked water runoffs, causing water to enter into our homes, and this is from Mahmoud Konjara.
I wouldn't know the reason. I'll engage the NRA, National Roads Authority, under the Ministry of Works to tell me exactly what is happening there. It could be very genuine reasons. I don't know. But like I said, Peter, our aim as a government is to build every road in this country. And we wouldn't want to come and start road works just to discomfort the population. No. If during the construction period there are challenges, I think we should be patient and know that the intention is to build these roads. And when the roads are done, they'll be better than what was there before. And that should be positive thinking. Now, every development brings some disruptions before things are normal again. And sometimes we need to accept these disruptions. Today, if you want to renovate your house, Peter...
which I want to do, I just don't have the money.
We'll give you the money, don't worry. If you want to renovate your house, it will bring discomfort to the kids, to the family, because you'll move things here and there will be disruption. But after the disruption, your house will be nice and habitable. I think people need to understand that. And we are doing a lot of works at the same time. Sometimes it is overwhelming. We are building many roads at the same time. And our aim is to make sure that all these roads are built so that when they are done, they are better than what was there before. It changes lives. Now, during the construction process, there are challenges clearly, and these challenges exist. People need to understand that it comes with roadworks, disruptions.
Somebody sending us a text message confirming that the new price for diesel is $85.60. $85.60 bututs.
Yes. So let me speak with Ministry of Energy, with PURA, to see what is happening in this particular sector. Like I said, it should have been, if there is an increase, because what I know is that the norm was that every month
there is an increase.
What I'm saying is that every month they'll post the new prices for that particular month. Now, if that has not been done, I'm not sure why. But like I said,
they posted the original price for the month of August. 82.50 and 82.63, I believe,
for the month of August.
For the month of August.
So
and it was assumed that for the next 31 days at least, all right, this is what is going to be the price.
Well, I think,
but barely a week after that, all the displays went off.
Well, it could be for many reasons.
And some were selling at 85.
But like I said, it could be for many reasons. Still, fuel prices at the pump remain cheaper in the Gambia than most countries in the sub-region.
We are
cheaper
talking
than
about
Senegal.
A specific case.
No, I agree.
It's not usual for the price of fuel to go twice up in 1 month.
But it's also not out of place for that to happen, depending on supply chain dynamics.
I agree. I was just telling somebody in Europe, I could drive into a fuel station, buy fuel at this price.
Yeah.
The next one that comes in, because the price has changed on the international market, they buy it cheaper.
That's what I'm saying.
Or even more expensive.
That's what I'm saying. That it happens sometimes that supply chain dynamics can change the price of fuel very swiftly. Now, what is important to note is that still we are cheaper than most countries in the neighboring sub-region, most countries. So I think, and also remember, also we subsidize for most part the price of fuel. If there were no subsidies, we would be having $100 and something per liter, just like other countries are doing in the sub-region. But we are doing well. Now, the reason why these changes have happened to $85 is for diesel. For it could have to do with supply chain dynamics, which we have no control over.
But you said you will find out and come and tell us next week.
Yes, but I mean, obviously, from the look of things, that could be the only explanation, because I wouldn't assume that MNOs will just wake up in the morning and increase deliberately. Right. So sometimes it has with supply chain dynamics, and sometimes, like I said, the price, basic economic teaches us that prices are determined by demand and supply.
I'm enjoying your company, but I have another guest waiting to come in. Dr. Cisse, Minister of Information, Media and Broadcasting Service.
Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Axel jam si Wave.
Yo, Abla, yo, luta to dede. Luta mo nulo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello?
Busel mu fay.
What?
Busel mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Axina Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave. Busel mu fine? Wave. Your money is yours.